Section 71. Karna said, of all the persons in the assembly, 3, viz. Bhishma, Vidura, and the preceptor of the Kurus, Drona, appear to be independent, for they always speak of their master as wicked, always censure him, and never wish for his prosperity. O excellent one, the slave, the son, and the wife are always dependent. They cannot earn wealth, for whatever they earn belongs to their master. Thou art the wife of a slave, incapable of possessing anything on his own account. Repair now to the inner apartments of King Dhritarashtra and serve the king's relatives. Be direct, that is now thy proper business. And O princess, all the sons of Dhritarashtra, and not the sons of Pritha, are now thy masters. O handsome one, select thou another husband now, one who will not make thee slave by gambling. It is well known that women especially that are slaves are not censurable if they proceed with freedom in electing husbands. Therefore, let it be done by thee. Nakula hath been won, as also Bhimasena, and Yudhishthira also, and Sahadeva, and Arjuna, and O Yajnaseni, thou art now a slave. Thy husbands that are slaves cannot continue to be thy lords any longer. Alas, doth not the son of Pritha regard life, prowess, and manhood as of no use, that he offereth his daughter of Drupada, the king of Panchala, in the presence of all this assembly as a stake at dice? Vaisampayana continued. Hearing these words, the wrathful Bhima breathed hard, a very picture of woe. Obedient to the king and bound by the tie of virtue and duty, burning everything with his eyes inflamed by anger, he said, O king, I cannot be angry at these words of this son of a Suta, for we have truly entered the state of servitude. But O king, could our enemies have said so unto me, if thou hadst not played staking this princess? Vaisampayana continued. Hearing these words of Bhimasena, King Duryodhana addressed Yudhishthira, who was silent and deprived of his senses, saying, O king, both Bhima and Arjuna and the twins also are under thy sway. Answer thou the question that hath been asked by Draupadi. Say whether thou regardest Krishna as unwon. And having spoken thus unto the son of Kunti, Duryodhana, desirous of encouraging the son of Radha, and insulting Bhima, quickly uncovered his left thigh, that was like unto the stem of a plantain tree, or the trunk of an elephant, and which was graced with every auspicious sign, and endued with the strength of thunder, and showed it to Draupadi in her very sight. And beholding this, Bhimasena, expanding his red eyes, said unto Duryodhana in the midst of all those kings, and as if piercing them with his dart-like words, let not Rikodara attain to the regions obtained by his ancestors, if he doth not break that thigh of thine in the great conflict. And sparkles of fire began to be emitted from every organ of sense of Bhima, filled with wrath. Those that come out of every crack and orifice in the body of a blazing fire tree. Vidura, then addressing everybody, said, Hey kings of Pratipas race, behold the great danger that ariseth from Bhimasena. Know ye for certain that this great calamity that threateneth to overtake the Bharatas hath been sent by destiny itself. The sons of Dhritarashtra have indeed gambled, disregarding every proper consideration. They are even now disputing in this assembly about a lady of the royal household. The prosperity of your kingdom is at an end. Alas, the Kauravas are even now engaged in skillful consultations. Ye Kauravas, take to your heart this high precept that I declare. If virtue is persecuted, the whole assembly becomes polluted. If Yudhishthira had staked her before he was himself won, he would certainly have been regarded as her master. If, however, a person staketh anything at a time when he himself is incapable of holding any wealth, to win it is very like obtaining wealth in a dream. Listening to the words of the king of Gandhara, fall ye not off from this undoubted truth. Duryodhana, hearing Vidura thus speak, said, I am willing to abide by the words of Bhima, of Arjuna, and of the twins. Let them say that Yudhishthira is not their master. Ajnaseni will then be freed from her state of bondage. Arjuna had this said, this illustrious son of Kunti, King Yudhishthira the Just, was certainly our master before he began to play. But, having lost himself, let all the Kauravas judge whose master he could be after that. Vaisampayana continued. Just then, a jackal began to cry loudly in the Homa chamber of King Dhritarashtra's palace. And O king, unto the jackal that howled so, the asses began to bray responsively, and terrible birds also from all sides began to answer with their cries. And Vidura, conversant with everything, and the daughter of Suvala, both understood the meaning of those terrible sounds, and Bhishma and Drona and the learned Gautama loudly cried, Shwasti, Shwasti. Then Gandhari and the learned Vidura, beholding that frightful woman, represented everything in great affliction unto the king, and the king Dhritarashtra thereupon said, Thou wicked-minded Duryodhana, thou wretch, destruction hath already overtaken thee, when thou insultest in language such as this the wife of these bulls among the Kurus, especially their wedded wife Draupadi. And having spoken those words, the wise Dhritarashtra, endued with knowledge, reflecting with the aid of his wisdom and desirous of saving his relatives and friends from destruction, began to console Krishna, the princess of Panchala, and addressing her the monarch said, Ask of me any boon, O princess of Panchala, that thou desirest, chaste and devoted to virtue. Thou art the first of all my daughters-in-law. Draupadi said, O bull of the Bharata race, if thou wilt grant me a boon, I ask the handsome Yudhishthira, obedient to every duty, be freed from slavery. Let not unthinking children call my child Prativindya, endued with great energy of mind, as the son of a slave, having been a prince so superior to all men, and nurtured by kings. It is not proper that he should be called the child of a slave. Dhritarashtra said unto her, O auspicious one, let it be as thou sayest. O excellent one, ask thou another boon, for I will give it. My heart inclineth to give thee a second boon. Thou dost not deserve only one boon. Draupadi said, I ask, O king, that Bhimasena and Dhananjaya and the twins also, with their cars and bows, freed from bondage, regain their liberty. Dhritarashtra said, O blessed daughter, let it be as thou desirest. Ask thou a third boon, for thou hast not been sufficiently honored with two boons. Virtuous in thy behavior, thou art the foremost of all my daughters-in-law. Draupadi said, O best of kings, O illustrious one, covetousness always bringeth about loss of virtue. I do not deserve a third boon, therefore I dare not ask any. O king of kings, it hath been said that a Vaishya may ask one boon, a Kshatriya lady 2 boons, a Kshatriya male 3, and a Brahmana 100. O king, these my husbands, freed from the wretched state of bondage, will be able to achieve prosperity by their own virtuous acts. Thus ends the 71st section. in the Dyuta Parva of the Sabha Parva.